Hello and welcome to Rauta. This time we have 5 different albums of 5 different styles and we'll go through them in alphabetical order. We have black metal for a couple of albums, we have death metal for a couple of albums, and then we have something that is combining together post-metal and sludge. First we go to Poland with a band called Beyond Time, Through the Vastness of the Universe. This is something that we could call atmospheric black metal in a very space-like themes. Lots of synthesizers, lots of melodies, lots of atmospheric parts. This band has been here out for a while. This is 2021 release, and indeed it seems to focus on themes of space and beyond. Cosmic elements, I guess. And the style is indeed very atmospheric, and I could add that in a nice way. Lots of guitar melodies are definitely doing their role in order to make this black metallic. You have also, of course, those raspy vocals and the somewhat basic mediocre production to serve it all and all that stuff. What makes this different from a lot of atmospheric band? Well, it's this space-like feature, theme, atmosphere, whatever you want to call it. And this is indeed something that they have tried to do intentionally. You can see that everything here, from the graphics used, even the album title and all, so everything here is very cosmic, like this photo here shows you. And I think they do it well. First of all, these keyboards, they are more than just, on the background. However, they don't define the album fully. So there is plenty of space for guitars and vocals all together to just, sum it up, however. And this is interestingly done because there's certain kind of majestic emptiness or void present here. However, it's still filled also with emotions like melancholy and certain kind of beautiful pieces put together. So all in all, I would say this is enjoyable. But where this lacks some good things are in the terms of, catchiness, memorability and all that stuff. So where you would say the Killer Burzum albums, which are of course atmospheric black metal, nail it because they're both memorable at the same time as being very atmospheric and all. This is more like lacking the peak material, if you will, yet still doing good job in the terms of being atmospheric and beautiful, melodic at the same time. Definitely worth taking a look if you like atmospheric black metal to begin with. Roughly in the same territory operates this another Polish band, Kataxu, which has been here since 1994. This is Ancestral Mysteries, the third album by the band. Now, curiously enough, these bands, Beyond Time and Kataxu, are listed as similar artists to one another on Metal Archive's site. So there is definitely something similar going on, and roughly I would say these are related to one another in terms of style. But whereas Beyond Time manages to keep the style very consistent and the quality rather good, Kataxu is more like up and down with this album. Mind you, because of this band started so many years ago, almost 30 years ago, the style has a little bit changed, and because of the scarcity of these albums, I mean only 3 albums within the span of less than 30 years, it's not like the style is always the same and all that stuff. There are parts where this goes fast, there are parts when this goes super slow, and there are reasons why I guess this has been compared to even Emperor. Now overall, this isn't as symphonic or majestic or atmospheric as Emperor, but there's certain parts which kind of remind me of the second album by the Emperor. The thing here is, there are parts where it just comes like more like picking individual tunes, it's almost like antithesis to more violent black metal. It's more like going very soft parts here and there, and not much is happening, even kind of spoken parts, similar kind of things, and that makes this album kind of bumpy. There are parts where you're like, okay, this is really good, this is like Beyond Time and all that stuff, and then there are parts that like, why is this such a drag? Overall, I can only recommend this to the biggest fans of Polish black metal fans and those who like previous material. But this time, Kataxu has done like too much of a drag of an album. I don't think it's bad, but I think it's very lukewarm in most parts. Like, even though there are these good songs, good riffs, and they're like that, there are parts where it just feels like I'm gonna skip this one because it's just too much talking, too much, just like experimenting with guitars and all. Then a very different style comes from Finland with Living Inferno MCD, A True Believer. It's hard to say whether this is technically speaking a demo or MCD because it's self-financed CDR. So not done by a label, not even proper CD, but a CDR, which might cause problem in certain older CD players. The style here with these 4 songs is quite aggressive death metal. One could say this is more like closer to 1990s kind of a melodic death metal. I mean, not exactly In Flames, but closer to bands like Hypocrisy and the like. You kind of hear a lot of these melodies that could be taken from the 90s, but there are also heavier death metal parts which are definitely pure death metal. So melodic death metal for sure, melodic metal not so much. Sound-wise, this is a bit more like, yeah, we did it in the rehearsal room kind of a thing, or at least a garage studio versus real deal. Vocals are quite powerful, but nothing phenomenal. Overall, pretty okay release, but still kind of a lacking the proper kick. So I like it in the terms of it's kind of a timeless. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of 90s, but then again, these kind of bands appear every now and then. But it seems like lacking the finishing touch. Maybe it's so partial about songwriting, maybe partially about production. Definitely okay for a melodic death metal release, but not that great, let's be honest about it. Then we have this Finnish band Raster Density, and this is very, very fresh. The others being 2021 releases. This is October 2022, and I decided to take it here because it's so fresh from the oven, but not exactly worthy just yet for an individual review. So this is Raster Density with their release of Apothecary's Tome of Depravity and Filth. Interesting name, and not maybe only in good terms. Anyway, this is a digipack release of 10 minutes, 30 and then some that is, and the style is very technical and brutal at the same time. On the other hand, it reminds me of Cannibal Corpse. Then again, it also reminds me of Origin and Archfire, but even more kind of a twist to experimental side of technical death metal. Some parts are very, very cool and super heavy. This is super heavy and technical all the way down, but there are parts where it kind of becomes like too much of a mess in terms of these songs are not definitely going all the way forward all the time. Now, I like Origin a lot. That's my favorite technical brutal death metal band. Raster Density could be in the very, very same ballpark, but they would need, say, better songwriting. And here they are on the crossroads with this third album. It's more like, yeah, they kind of like figuring out where to go, but now they are like as if they are too much in love with gending and going meshugah all over the places. So on the other hand, where it goes just like boom and kills everything before it. And there are parts where it just becomes like this old lawnmower, which is not like working properly. Like, hey, is this running out of gas? Because it goes like gent. Yeah, you got it. Okay, poor joke, but definitely worth checking out if you like technical death metal, but don't expect too much. I think this is not as good as their previous works, but still decent. The last and not least is a band called Redemptus. This is actually among my least favorites of this pile, but not bad by no means. This one is Blackhearted, and it's kind of a sludge post-metal thing with a lot of social commentary. On the other hand, this is very, very heavy. This is kind of oppressive. It's kind of a dark and bleak album in so many ways. But in terms of songwriting, it's not that interesting. It feels like it's over lengthy an album. And indeed, it's quite lengthy. And it becomes kind of a burdensome to listen to at some points. To me, it feels like some 1/3 could have been removed and this would have more impact because it would be more compact. And as such, it would have more hitting power. Now it becomes somewhat of a drag eventually because it seems like the band is too much in love with, not only the spoken samples used, but also because none of the riffs really kick in terms of like full songwriting and all. So there are parts where you're like, yes, this is heavy, and after a while, yeah, this is heavy, but where are the good riffs? You're just hanging your beer mug and like, okay, I'm gonna catch some friends and all that stuff. as if you were at the gig. So it's kind of hard to get into, but there are parts where it's just like, yeah, nailing it. Post-metal, like Russian circle styles, and then you have more sludgy parts. But the problem is, it's not doing neither in very good manners. It's more like trying to take both best parts from sludge and post-metal, but failing at it. But not bad, just kind of a mediocre overall. So to select the best one, my favorite one of all these 5, I would say go with the Beyond Time. If you have only one album, time for only one album of this pile, deck Beyond Time. But of course, everything boils down to your personal favorites, given genres and styles. So this is only my opinion. You will find links provided in the description box with scores and all that stuff. So check out some of the links and listen to the music and figure out for yourself whether or not these are your cup of tea. Rauta out. Thank you. Bye-bye.